Good evening from downtown Los Angeles. This is Josh Friedman live, I believe. I hope. I'm not used to streaming here. In downtown Los Angeles, outside of LAPD headquarters, where images are being projected, such as that one. All right, Patrice, can you hear me? Can you see what I'm streaming? Been having connection problems throughout the night on YouTube, and now I'm trying to get the audience to migrate over here. Let's see if it works. Let's see if the stream here works as well. I don't know if it will, but hopefully someone can leave a comment saying whether or not you can see what's happening in front of me outside LAPD headquarters. Yes. No. Let's see if anyone can if you're tuned in right now, can you please let me know whether you can see the protesters here gathered outside LAPD headquarters. Likewise, whether or not you can hear me, and the protesters for that matter. It's been a struggle tonight, and now I'm streaming in a place where I don't typically stream, or at least on a platform, on a page I don't typically stream. But let's see if this works. All right, I see I've got three viewers now. Would one of you three people tuned in be so kind as to let me know whether you can see what's happening here in downtown LA? Would be joyed to hear from any one of you. Let me know whether this live stream is actually functioning. Okay, now someone's saying it's good now. All right, thank you very much. Now, I guess the next challenge. Hi, Peter. Hi, Lawrence. Thank you for tuning in. I guess the next challenge is to share this stream. But whatever. I guess if not so many people tune in because I'm streaming on a totally different location, so be it. But if you could share the stream, that would be great. And I'm glad to hear that it looks and sounds good. Thank you very much, Peter. Let's try to get into the crowd so we can hear what is being said.
So get that through your head as well. But don't be scared of what they do. I stand in front of their ass all the time with my back to them. Because I'm not scared of shit. What am I going to be scared of? Because if you're going to shoot, you're going to shoot. So what am I running for? You can't stand your ground and turn your back on your friends. There's people out here that would die. I would die for everybody out here. If you know me, then you know I'm telling the truth. So believe that shit when I say it. Because if I'm going to lose my life, I would expect somebody else to save somebody else's life. Be smart. Use your fucking brain. That's what it's there for. Stop depending on somebody else to make your everyday decision. You must believe this while you are out here. So let yourself make that decision. I ain't wake up today and ask somebody what should I wear. I told myself what the fuck I'm gonna wear. How the fuck you gonna let these people tell you what the fuck you can and can't do? When yeah, people dying every day and we just supposed to accept that and be okay with it? No. Get it through your head. This is what they're afraid of. But this is what the fuck we gotta do every day. Yes. Every day. Every day. If you don't get it, move on. Because I guarantee you, if you ain't been out here, you're going to end up being out here. So get that shit through your head. Community is fucking unity. And that's all we got. They scared of that shit. Use that shit to your advantage. Fuck them. They do something to you, you turn your back. Fuck them. Because they cowards because they shoot us in the back all day. A real motherfucker gonna shoot you in your face. Get it through your head. I'm not dying for nothing. I'm dying for something. Now when I say black lives have always, y'all say matter. Black lives have always matter.
There are undercovers who have just infiltrated this. This has been brought to me by multiple people. Are you a cop? Are you a Fed agent? Know your neighbors around you. Be on the lookout for people with earpieces and handcuffs in their pockets. They keep it, you will see a fucking shape of a ring in their pocket. Be advised. Be safe. Know your neighbors. Also, if we have children out here, I'm going to advise that you guys leave. Protect our children. Protect the youth. And make sure that they get home safely. This is our fight. We will stand here, stay together, stay tight. Stay together.
Stay tight! We do this every night! Stay together! Stay tight! We do this every night! Stay together! Stay tight! We do this every night!
Alright, so also, I want you guys to be aware. We gotta direct our attention to these motherfuckers right there. Alright? Quit your job!
This is LAPD headquarters.
Quit your job!
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 LAPD officers in a line out front of the building.
I love you before you shoot me. It makes me. You know where I'm at, for the city hall every morning.
Cops in a racist system!
house in a racist system. No bad protesters in a revolution. No bad protesters in a revolution. No bad protesters in a revolution. No bad protesters in a revolution.
Crowd approaching LAPD riot officers. Barricade down, LAPD riot officers standing out front of LAPD headquarters. Crowd inching closer to both the line of officers in riot gear outside the building, as well as the building itself. You can see the barricade is down, at least the majority of it. Can I zoom in? I guess. Yeah, I can zoom in. I'm not used to streaming on Facebook. LAPD officers with some of whom are carrying guns that well, what's happening in this direction as the barricade gets ripped and dragged away. Barricade being dragged out into the street as a man falls.
What the fuck?
And lots of protesters flood both the streets and the front of LAPD headquarters, and I see more officers coming out of the building. So barricade down and being moved into the street. Protesters gathered in front of LAPD headquarters as more officers come out of the building. Although we have, at least at this point, quite a small contingent of officers, given the size and proximity of the crowd. For much of the evening up until this point, there's been a projector blasting images onto this face of the building. If you see lights flashing there or images, that might be what I'm talking about. The barricade was right around here. It's down. Protesters have now advanced to within about 15 feet of this thin line of officers in riot gear, some of whom are carrying guns that I believe fire foam balls or foam bullets, whatever you call those. There's a bicycle right here. You can see the barricade being hauled off and hauled away from the front of the building, actually being hauled in several directions. Oh no, new barricades forming. The protesters are forming their own barricade here on First Street between LA City Hall and LAPD headquarters. And now riot officers are forming a line around the corner of First and Spring. As I try to zoom in. They might have some beanbag guns. I believe those guns with green on them fire foam projectiles.
You're not part of NLG, or you're not helping build barricades. Get back to the crowd. We need you to protect our people.
All right, now the police are forming a line, spreading across
You're not part of NLG. Get back to the crowd and stay tight.
1st Street at the intersection of 1st and Spring.
We stay together, we stay tight.
That's a familiar chant from Portland. Stay together, stay tight. We do this every night.
Okay.
I didn't used to hear that in LA, but it's a chant here now.
Stay together, stay tight. We stay together, we stay tight. That's how we keep each other safe. That's how the community looks out for each other.
One
We stay together, we stay tight. We're not
piece of
together.
fence being moved
Don't leave it
in the
together.
direction
We're
of
just practicing our constitutional
Main
rights.
Street,
We're demonstrating
that
we're
way.
not doing anything illegal. You know what is illegal? The fact that they killed Anthony McClain.
I guess it's a good time to note that I think the protest tonight was billed as a protest over the shooting of Jacob Blake and the fatal shooting of Anthony McClain in Pasadena, I think on Saturday, as the crowd now chants Anthony McClain. Lit up LA City Hall across the street. Crowd gathered in front of LAPD headquarters here on Spring Street. Excuse me, on 1st, right next to Spring Street. Officers in riot gear stand out in front of LAPD headquarters, not in as large a numbers as the officers lined up also outside LAPD headquarters, lined up along the east side of the intersection of Spring and 1st. And I guess I could make my way around this barricade that the protesters set up and give you a look at the line of officers here. The protest started right here in front of LA City Hall, or to the side of LA City Hall. Here's a look from across the street at the crowd gathered outside LAPD headquarters. And here's a look at the line of officers in riot gear. At the intersection of Spring and 1st. I'm getting a message from Annabelle, who I don't think has figured out that I'm on this stream. I would really appreciate if, I don't usually ask this, but if everyone tuned in could share the stream, because this is not the typical platform and page on which I stream, and most people who would normally be tuned in probably have no idea that I'm streaming here, and that might even include Annabelle. We've got a press section over here beside a line of officers in riot gear, and let's head back into the middle of 1st Street. Interesting. This van, I believe the protesters parked here as a barricade, so maybe there's a little coordination right now between the police and protesters. I don't know, but it seemed like the officer walking behind the police line and now taking his position right there. It looked like he was directing the van to move out of the area. Maybe the van driver was given an ultimatum, I don't know. Some protesters gathered here by the corner of First and Spring, but most remain right outside or right out front of LAPD headquarters. The crowd is definitely in the hundreds, although it's not a huge crowd. I don't know if this is a legal observer or what.
We shut shit down!
They took away the
We shut shit down! We shut shit down! Anthony McClain! 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 Police! Police! Fuck these racist ass police! Police! Fuck these racist ass police! Waste of money, a little more waste of money. Shut it down! 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 Shut it down!
Still not so many officers out front of the building, standing between the crowd and the building. More officers, it seems, lined up over there at the intersection of First and Spring. If you're just tuning in now, there was a barricade set up right around here, a fence barricade, and the protesters knocked it down. They did so not too long after I started this stream, and the protesters have now advanced closer to the police line out front of LAPD headquarters.
Don't put cops in a racist system!
Unfortunately, I haven't seen, well, I saw the very beginning of the video, but I believe McClain was killed by police Saturday evening in Pasadena. And police have already released video of the incident, but I only watched the very beginning of it before coming over here. I need to look into that case more. The flashing light is coming from a yeah, I believe a police helicopter. LAPD headquarters. Earlier in the night there had been a projector shooting images and text like Black Lives Matter and calling for arresting police and prosecutors. A projector was shooting those images onto the building right here. Lit up LA City Hall across the street. Here is the front of the police line. I'm gonna try to get closer to the speaker on the megaphone.
It's about to happen tonight, whether you like it or not. So you need to make sure that you put the motherfucking phones up and that you help one another and let the media be the media. Because if one of us fall, that means all of us fall. So y'all have to remember that what y'all are seeing around you is a scam.
Sounds like LAPD's declaring an unlawful assembly.
What the fuck is going on right now? So y'all need to know. Start listening. Look at what the fuck is going on and pay attention to these motherfucking helicopters because they trust you from the side.
There's a police loudspeaker that's barking something out. It sounds like they're declaring... Oh, it's coming from the helicopter, I think. It sounds like LAPD's announcing this is an unlawful assembly and you have something like 5 minutes to disperse and go east on Main. I couldn't hear it so clearly, but that's what it sounded like. You have some officers in riot gear lined up in front of the building, just about 5 feet away from the front line of protesters right now. And then more officers lined up over here at 1st and Spring, and it looks like yet more officers are arriving and are grouped together in the intersection here at 1st and Spring.
Right now, whoever you work with you, or whoever you know out here, even if you don't know their person, get them a hug right now. Get them a hug. Because this could be your last hug, but it could be your hug for a while if you get locked up. So you really need to understand, because I made videos saying that I might die and I still might. Fuck COVID, that ain't nothing but a distraction right now. You already got it if you out here. You want to be honest.
I don't know if you guys can make that out, but the woman on the megaphone is saying, fuck COVID. If you're out here, you already got it. Let's see what this banner says. Andres Guardado was shot and killed in Gardena by LA County Sheriff's deputies. Anthony McClain is the new Pasadena case. And then I'm not familiar with these two. Got some research to do. Law enforcement helicopter continuing to circle overhead. It sounded like LAPD has already declared this an unlawful assembly and ordered people to disperse. But they haven't been repeating that command. Lots of officers gathered in and around the intersection of 1st and Spring. Oh, now they're saying forward. Okay. LAPD riot squad on the march, moving in the direction of the protesters. Moving in my direction as well.
Watch this guy right here.
Okay, now you have protesters making their way away from the front of LAPD headquarters, entering 1st Street between Spring and Main, between LAPD headquarters and City Hall. The front line of officers seem to have their hands on batons. There's one officer just inches behind the front line here who's got a gun that I think fires foam projectiles, but I'm not positive. Meanwhile, protesters forming their own line in the middle of 1st Street. And lights being shined back and forth. Looks like this man in the protest is flashing a light at the officers, and officers are flashing a light back at him. If you could share this stream, that would be much appreciated. I know a lot of my regular YouTube viewers would like to see this, but probably have no idea that I'm streaming here. It looks like what's left of the police barricade that was moved over here is now being dragged through the street, through 1st Street, down this way. Officers are forming somewhat of a perimeter on Spring Street. Now pushing a small pocket of protesters that's gathered here at the corner of 1st and Spring. Not physically pushing, but okay, my apologies, the previous broadcast ended, not because of a connection problem, But unfortunately, because of an incoming phone call, but nonetheless, here we are, standoff, downtown Los Angeles, on 1st Street, between LAPD headquarters and LA City Hall, which is in back of these trees. LAPD officers in riot gear, standing in the middle of 1st Street with a line or multiple lines of protesters standing off with them. LAPD's been announcing that they intend to, there's already declared an unlawful assembly and they intend to break it up. Also threatening to arrest someone shining a strobe light. They've been calling that out over a megaphone. Protesters taking a more defensive position now. You can see a couple umbrellas, maybe more than a couple mixed in, maybe even a shield or two. Officers holding batons on the front line, and others with guns that fire, I think, foam projectiles, but some sort of projectiles, standing behind them. Some argument or infighting. Here's the line of protesters, or front line of protesters. And here's the front line and lines of LAPD officers out here outside their department headquarters in riot gear. Yes, Lawrence, I apologize that the previous stream got cut off, so here we are on a new stream. Well, I guess there were many previous streams tonight that got cut off, but that's another story.
Get your ass back on that side. Take your ass out. You ain't finna start that shit over here. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out.
I heard that man in the green thanking police earlier, so I don't think he's a protester. I don't think he's on the same side as the protesters here. Hey, how's it going? Now the barricade has been breached. Should know. Oh, we have officer moving the barricade. It appears police are getting ready to move in on the crowd.
Put your phones down, be careful.
So here's the line of officers in front of LAPD headquarters. Here the lines, I should say front lines, plural, of protesters.
And not let this moment distract you.
And it looks like the officers are getting ready to close in. Lawrence, I do plan on doing that. I tried one more time to launch a YouTube stream and it failed again. You've got protesters holding a line facing both the officers on Spring Street and the officers lined up directly in front of LAPD headquarters. Car door open, interestingly. Effectively no man's land between the protesters and the police. Sorry about that. Again, Lawrence, yes, I do plan on uploading this to my YouTube channel, but I'd really appreciate if everyone tuned in can share the stream, because we have quite the confrontation here, and I'm sure my YouTube viewers would like to see it, but don't know where it's being streamed. There actually still is a pocket of protesters on the northeast corner of Spring and First, right by the traffic light, and right by a line of officers. LAPD has already declared this an unlawful assembly, and I think the 10 minutes they promised or offered protesters to get out of here, I think those 10 minutes are up by now. More movement. It looks like police are getting ready to move in on the crowd, but will they do so? Peter, I posted on the community tab and on my Twitter that I'm trying to stream here. I think usually people just get live notifications. There's a protester. And officers effectively bull rush not the crowd as a whole, but along Spring Street, causing people to scatter, although not everyone. There remains a large crowd in the middle of Spring Street as officers try to establish new perimeters. And the front line of officers continues advancing right up to about 5 feet away from the front line of protesters who retreated a bit, but have also to some extent held their positions here in the middle of Spring Street. Oh, I think tear gas is being fired. Oh shit, I gotta get my gas mask on. Oh crap, I'm not prepared. It looks like some... Looks like there was some stuff being thrown back at the officer, something purple. Kind of chaotic scene with a metro bus driving by on Main Street. Officers advancing on the crowd. It looks like a smoke grenade maybe being thrown back. A bunch of purple smoke in the air. I really need to adjust my setup and get my gas mask on. Oh, sorry about that. Trying to get my gas mask on. Well, maybe I'm not gonna need it, but I got the gas mask on top of my head now, as I don't know where to go to get a shot now. There's a big standoff in the intersection of 1st and Main. I think I might have been saying Spring earlier. It's First Street where all this action is. And here's the front line.
Here's Josh. What's up, Josh?
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Trying to get intense out here.
Protesters chanting, "Hands up, don't shoot." LA City Hall right here. LAPD headquarters right here. We're at the corner of 1st and Main.
Oh, you don't have a helmet.
LAPD officers in riot gear have forced the crowd back from the middle of the block here, between Spring and Main, all the way to the intersection of 1st and Main.
We'll never be divided! United! We'll never be divided! United! We'll never be divided!
You can see officers pointing at a... Well, actually, I'm not sure what they're pointing at. I thought they might have been pointing at someone with a light. Earlier, they were ordering someone to shut off a strobe light or face arrest. Well, it looks like protesters are going to start backing up on their own. Fuck the police is the chant. Meanwhile, sirens coming from... I'm not sure which direction. Well, it looks like sirens are coming from east of here. Maybe heading elsewhere, though.
Maybe not. Maybe.
Francois, I know your real name, but I'm not going to say it here. Thank you for tuning in. Stream is gone? What do you mean the stream is gone? For those of you tuned in right now, can you see what's happening or no? All right, thank you, David. I'm not seeing any connection issue on my end right now. This officer pointing into the crowd, maybe over some light or laser being flashed. Wow. Oh, shot fired. Shot fired.
What are you doing?
Shots fired.
What's the problem, little man?
Shooting right now.
You can see the officer here with a club on the corner was directing other officers at some action in the crowd, and then they fired shots in that direction. I believe those guns with the green on them fire foam projectiles, but I'm not positive. If you're tuned in, please share the stream. And there might have been a laser pointed at the police. I'm not sure.
That was shot in the back 7 times by the Wisconsin police. He was unarmed and he got shot in the back.
This officer straight ahead of me on the corner with the club is the one pointing to other officers at something going on in the crowd here. And that prompted another officer to step in and fire shots. I'd say it has a little bit more of a Portland feel than usual here in LA. I've several times heard the familiar Portland chant, "Stay together, stay tight." We do this every night. You've also got the umbrellas. Here's an officer with a gun. Looks like he might be getting ready to shoot. And we might have somewhat of a laser battle here. This officer on the corner right in front is again pointing something out to an officer with a gun.
It's moving now.
Now he's saying he's got an orange backpack on. It appears that the police may be getting ready to fire shots at someone with an orange backpack. Again, this officer here on the corner feeding information to an officer with a gun, holding a gun. Several minutes ago, we had a similar sequence, and then an officer fired multiple shots into the middle of the crowd here. I don't know if I'd call that drawn. Maybe drawn and pointed down. Traffic is stopped here, backed up on Main Street heading north. Well, if it's 3 a.m. in New York, then it's midnight here. I don't know if it's midnight on the dot, but if it is, good morning, as I see more officers in riot gear coming out of LAPD headquarters, or at least running out into the street from their police department headquarters property. Hi, Annabelle. Annabelle, we're at the corner of Main and First. Good night, Lawrence. And it looks like Main and First is accessible right now from the north and from the east. And now the crowd moves north, looking like in a bid to de-escalate. Which is causing a reaction from the many LAPD officers who are now establishing a new line right in front of me. The crowd's now moving slowly north on Main Street. Wrapping around City Hall a little bit. So now the front line of the protesters is on Main, just north of First, and the police have established control of the intersection. And they're bull rushing people as they establish.
Oh, they go!
The police now establish a perimeter around much of City Hall.
Outran the fuck out y'all.
Where the fuck are you all going? Stay tight! Where the fuck are you going?
Someone runs by screaming, "Where the fuck are you all going? Stay together, stay tight." Now the crowd moves, some running. Crowd moves north in my direction on Main, heading toward the back end of City Hall as a motorbike rides through. Here's City Hall. Police have established a line on Main that wraps around the park area on the south side of City Hall. I can hear a supervising officer saying, "We're going to hold here." And I can hear a protester on the megaphone saying, "Stay together and we'll make it out of here." Crowd of protesters bunched together and moving slightly in the middle of Main, slightly north of First, and quite a ways south of Temple this way. Whose streets are streets is the chant now. Meanwhile, there's an officer, a supervising officer, pointing out someone in the crowd to an officer with a gun. The officer with the gun is now positioning himself there on the grass. Police have already shot into the crowd of protesters once. I think that was about 20 minutes ago, give or take. I don't recognize anyone here from Portland. Although I do recognize a chant, maybe a tactic or two from Portland. Not that those are exclusive to Portland. Protesters now moving side by side, slowly heading north in Maine. Which I'd presume pretty soon will get a reaction out of the police, as the protesters are edging past the end of the police line right here.
I'm telling them niggas to get me, you come get it.
chanting, when we move like water. In the background, south of 1st Street, I see LAPD vehicles pulling out of LAPD headquarters. You can now make them out on your screen. As this woman is saying, yeah,
hold on, I just got through talking to somebody who drove over there. Stop making calls that you don't know how to fuck your phone. What's gonna happen?
so there's now a lot of suspicion that officers are going to make their way up to probably around the intersection here of Temple and Main and try to box in the protesters. We'll see if that happens. Some protesters staying put, others fleeing, as indeed the officers have arrived, and it looks like they are going to box in protesters. Some protesters now running away. These police vehicles, looks like some regular civilian cars are also boxed in now. Police vehicles made their way out of LAPD headquarters, circled around a couple blocks, and now ended up over here, effectively boxing in the crowd, which is splintering. Some people walking off or trying to walk off in this direction, others staying put, and some homeless people not getting a good night's sleep, just caught in the middle of it all. Oh, okay. Annabelle says she's at the police line. You're at which police line? What streets are you at? Oh, officers rushing the crowd, and they're gonna take position here, boxing in the protesters and myself. So officers rushing to extend their police line. Chasing protesters who had already essentially been running away, and now I think they're running into a trap, as we have a police line established at Temple, now making its way south on Main in my direction and in the direction of the crowd. It looks like the majority of the crowd is now boxed in. Police line established here on the back side of City Hall, and protesters walking right into the police line, or lines.
Yo, bring it down! Come on, come on!
Remember, we have to exit this way. Come this way. Stop walking slowly.
Now the crowd is splintering. Police had given up their line in the middle of Main. Now they've reestablished it.
people, stop!
And protesters are
I need people to move faster! People move
boxed in.
faster! Come this way! Stop sticking around! Stay forward!
Yeah, Annabelle, I'm at Temple and Main, but you're probably not going to be able to get in here. I'm on the back side of City Hall
Come here! If you would like to disperse,
by Temple and Main.
okay? But we are to pay attention. If we are to move like water, we cannot slow each other down. We must look around and move in the
It looks like police are actually letting the crowd exit right over here at Temple and Main. Lots of police vehicles here out back of City Hall. Lots of officers following the crowd. And it sounds like the man on the megaphone leading the crowd is encouraging everyone to leave.
Now is the time! If you would like to disperse, we are here now!
But some protesters chanting, "We're not leaving." This is the intersection of Main and Temple. I'm on Annabelle. If you're at Temple and Main, I am in the intersection now of Temple and Main. So if you're at the intersection, you should see me because I'm right in the middle of Temple and Main now. Oh, well, hello. Can I try to stream on YouTube on your phone?
Yes.
Do you have the YouTube app?
Yes.
The regular YouTube app?
Yes.
Alright, I'm gonna just intro... Police officers on foot now closing in on the intersection of Temple and Main, barking things out. Maybe they bull rush the crowd on out of here. I don't know. They're saying hold right now, so they're gonna hold their line, but they might charge at any point. Hold this. It's charged.
No, you guys are supposed, you understand they're gonna close that street right there. People, I need you guys to move like water. If you would like to discuss now is the time.
Good evening, good morning, whatever hour it is. I think I heard it's past midnight, but I'm not sure. It's been an interesting evening, one full of technical difficulties. So right now what you're looking at is basically the fairly long standoff between protesters and police here in downtown. Which point the protesters just a few minutes ago ran off in several different directions. The crowd is gone. At this point, basically, myself and Annabelle, nice enough to show up and let me stream on her phone. By the way, Annabelle, keep it going. Annabelle is live. Well, I'm live now on two different places. Annabelle's holding the Facebook stream, while I hold the YouTube stream. For whatever reason, you see LAPD officers appear to be giving up their
Maybe we go around the city hall?
Yeah, when the light turns. I think these officers are going to circle around and head back to LAPD headquarters.
There were some people.
The protesters cleared out of here, though. The officers just chased the protesters out of here about 3 minutes before I launched this stream. Adams Co., what's going on in Kenosha tonight? Given that I've been out here in the streets of downtown LA,
There's a group. There's a group of protesters. There was a little group of protesters and they were raising their hands.
Say that louder so people
So there was a group of protesters raising their hands and then or lifting them. And then the police officers were going closer to them.
Well, let's see what's going on. Are they coming back in our direction?
No, they are now in the middle of the street.
Yeah. Walking away. Sorry, I missed your comments right after I asked them. Officers retreat to their vehicles. So yeah, I missed your comments right after asking what's going on. Fires everywhere, all sorts of dump trucks, garbage trucks. Oh, there's action in San Diego tonight? That's awesome. Looks like a group of protesters.
Yeah, so there's a group of protesters over there. I don't know if you can see it, and the police just left. There's a helicopter. And we're here in downtown Los Angeles. In front of the city hall. Or behind the city hall.
Standoff. It seemed like officers quite concerned about protesters pointing powerful light sharp lasers in their direction. At one point early on in the standoff, the officer allowed them to
Okay, the police is making a U-turn. And most of them are driving off. Where's the
I
action?
guess that's the end of it. You arrived late. Oh yeah, there was, I think, tear gas fired at one point, and I think smoke grenades thrown as well. Because at one point, there was a bunch of pink, purple smoke flying. It seemed like the officers were firing or dropping tear gas cans on the ground. But it didn't get so gassy. The officers themselves didn't have gas masks on. That's why I was caught by surprise. Possibly rubber bullets were fired, but I don't know. I think shots were fired out of one of those guns that fires foam bullets. But I'm not positive. I did film a part over on Nomadic Journalism on Facebook. Officers right in front of up my Facebook feed. Well, most people figure it out. Still a helicopter circling around City Hall. Keep an eye out if the phone says 10% or 20%.
Yes.
I don't think there's going to be any more action tonight, but we'll go out in front of LAPD headquarters, see who's out there, if anyone. That's where the action began. The action basically kicked off with protesters knocking down a barricade that had been set up in front of LAPD headquarters. Then they pretty close to a rather thin front line of police officers outside the front of LA City Hall. And after that, things escalated.
I see police.
We're walking right up to the police headquarters. There are officers. It looks like the street is reopened. Or has it? No, not. The officers out front of let's cross it. Looks like first. Right ahead of me. Yeah, a lot of homeless caught in traffic. At some points you can tell they're visibly frustrated. They're lying in bed and there's chaos before them surrounding. Yeah, lots of police remain out front of the headquarters. Nothing's really doing other than after having numerous programs streaming on my phone. some officers leaning on. That fence was standing at the beginning of the evening. Protesters then knocked it down and actually dragged it into the street and created their own barricade. Where I'm pointing the camera right now on First Street between Spring and where I'm standing right now. And when that barricade was knocked down and dragged off,
Four people.
Are you talking to them?
No.
Oh, you probably shouldn't speak.
Okay.
Who's... well, we've got a little dual stream going now. Who's tuned in to the... Yeah, so Peter didn't understand that I had gone live on YouTube. I'm sorry, I've been neglecting my Facebook viewers, whoever's left. But let's just end the Facebook stream because we've got the YouTube stream going.
Okay.
So hit finish.